Welcome back to episode 60 of the Disorganized Club podcast. My name's Alex. I'm here as always with Adam.
Hello.
And Cam.
Whoa.
And we're a group of Ottawa-based players that play just about anything and everything that we can qualify for. We talk about decks, tournament stories, just about anything to help you and ourselves get better at Magic.
So as justification, I blanked when you started to introduce me because you said episode 60, and I was like, oh, that's a milestone. And then, did you know 60 is a super cool number because the Babylonians counted in base 60 because it's hyper divisible. It's divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is very neat. It's one of the smallest numbers that's that divisible, which is why it was such a convenient base. Anyway, I got excited and then forgot to say hello.
Just went, oh, just because it was 60.
Yeah.
And you've told me this before, which is why I also kind of cracked up so hard.
Yeah, you realized what was going on.
Yeah, I realized why you were so excited, and I was like, God, you're such a nerd. But it was also great, so.
Right on.
That's also probably why Magic uses 60 card decks.
You think
Babylonian
So that you can pile shuffle into 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 piles.
Get him with the 3-pile shuffle. So
if any of you out there shuffle with 7 piles, just know that you're a disgrace to arithmetic.
I do.
One
actually.
time.
Get out.
Yes, it's 8 or bust. But one. Gets upset. So one time at a GP, a kid mana weaved right in front of me, just my opponent, and I'm like, Judge? I was like, yeah, mana weaved. He's like, well, just let me know next time you guys start the game and I'll come look. I'm like, I'm gonna 3-pile shuffle his deck back then, right? And Judge was like, oh, you can do that now. So I was like, all right. And I just stared at the 3-pile shuffle. I was like, there you go. He draws. He's like, Mo. Yes. It was probably one of the happiest things I've done at a GP. I was so happy. It was great.
I've never heard that.
And then he just kind of overhand a couple times and then just mulled to 4 and died. I was like, right on. It was round 4 or something of a sealed GP. It was in Ottawa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ate one day one because I got a free win in that round. And then I called the judge for game 2 and he looked at his deck. He's like, it's not a noticeable. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's land 2 spells, land 2 spells. What are you talking about? I was frustrated. So then
Okay.
I just did it again. Yeah, it was. And he called judge and the judge was like, well, he's allowed to shuffle. I'm like, yeah, get wrecked. It was the weirdest judge call though, because that judge should have just DQ, you know what I mean? It was he did it right in front of me. Other people saw it. Anyway, long story.
I've had to call a judge before because someone clearly was insufficiently shuffling their deck, and the judge stood there and watched their entire shuffling process, which didn't randomize it at all. And then same thing, thumbed through it. Oh, looks fine.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which I don't know what a sufficiently random deck looks like, but I don't know. Yeah, how you'd inspect that.
They're trained in the judge school.
My problem with it is that any list of cards that someone would say, yes, that looks random, excludes outlying orders that could randomly be achieved. If you
correct, nothing can look random.
Right, but if you hand them a deck with 6 lands in a row, they'll be like, oh, this wasn't shuffled. But it could have been people draw 6 lands in a row in real games.
Correct. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You can't look anyway. It can't look like anything random because you can't predict that, right? It's the definition, but apparently judges at judge school learn what random looks like.
Yeah, I didn't go to judge school.
Yeah,
so maybe I just don't know.
Being judges, they can defy the laws of numbers and predictions to know what random looks like. That's quite a skill.
Is that's why they're judges and no longer play Magic?
It would be illegal for them to play Magic because they have such a power over probability that they would just crumple everybody.
Right. They just could literally control variance.
Yes.
They're in charge of it. They're part of the Dark Council that determines whether you get screwed or flooded. It's actually not, a scientific principle or anything. It's just
it's the occult.
It's warlocks, basically.
Yeah.
It's a coven of them.
Okay. Back on track.
Episode
60.
Speaking of how smart judges are, do you remember? I remember when Jared Betcher was getting banned, and Chris Massioli, noted kind of Magic personality, had a website that said, "Is Jared Betcher banned yet?" And then you go to the website and it would say no, and then finally it said yes. But when he was kind of witch hunting him, it wasn't really a witch hunt because he was a witch, and he was cheating. Judges were like, I reviewed the tape and there's no way he's cheating. And it was because he was rookie of the year and it looked really bad, right? So judges were bullying other judges to shut up and Massioli to be quiet. He like recently like released all these emails on Facebook. I was like just reading it like 2 days ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, judges were like trying to they like threatened to strip him of his L1 judge because he was like an L1 judge. They like threatened to strip him of his judge cert
Jeez.
because he was like going after Jared Betcher as a cheater, and they were like, "You're just witch hunting, and like this is online bullying and harassment." Like, and then Matt Sperling like wrote this whole article in his defense and stuff. It was crazy, yeah. Like looking back, but like anyway, like these other judges who aren't judges anymore, like a couple days ago posted on Facebook like the emails that they got from like their head regional judges being like, just shut up, like stop, like yeah, you know, it's trying to sweep it under the rug, man. That's greasy.
Jeez.
Judges suck. Anyway. I like just get riled.
But there are some nice ones that we like.
Yeah, like one or two. Just like I don't know. I always
All right, episode 60.
Whoa.
milestone.
Almost at 100.
You play some Magic? What was your week that was?
I think I played Standard once. And I played Draft tonight before we recorded.
Yeah, we're recording late, which you said we should never do again. But
Yeah.
I'm the tired one this time because for some reason I've been on a productive adult normal schedule recently.
I don't know if I'd say
That
productive.
sounds like fake news to me.
I mean, okay, I've been on a normal quote unquote sleep schedule.
He
Going
has
to bed at
been, like-
11:30 and getting up at like 7:30, 8 a.m.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
weird.
But then I just like play video games all day. I like wake up and like play video games full time.
That sounds like fun.
D's plus.
I have to go to work in the morning.
Correct.
Yeah.
I played some draft.
Yeah, I'm just
Tonight
kind
as
I'm
well.
like
Hate this
it's
format.
not I don't hate the format.
Hate it.
I'm bored of it. It's boring.
Yeah, it's like it's just not an interesting format. Games aren't interesting. Like I even said that tonight, right?
Well, I
Like
thought they were at the beginning, but now that I've played it a whole bunch, and I don't know if it's just because I'm bored of it or whatever, but the games are no longer interesting to me. I'm like, it's stupid.
yeah, well, like I mean, like standard is still pretty like quote unquote stale, but I still find games to be interesting in standard. And I found limited formats in the past that I've ground a ton of games out, you know, to still be interesting. But this format
Is standard stale?
I guess, like because Teamer is like the best act, right?
Yeah, but
I think
it's-
there's like a few main
it's
pillars
very-
in the format
it's very diverse still.
that the meta. Yeah, it's diverse, but like there's only a couple pillars which it's diverse between, and like
Right,
the
but
meta
you
just sort of
definitely hear
shifts
people
between
complain
what's
like, "Oh,
popular.
you just got to play Teamer, like everyone's playing it," and it's like I still think those games are interesting. Whereas like I don't find the limited games to be interesting. I guess is
Just
what
because it's
I'm going
diverse
with.
doesn't mean it's stale. Like it's been the exact same diversity of decks the last like month.
But playing tonight though, and
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm saying it's not stale because it's diverse.
No,
You said there's in that.
I'm saying that it can be diverse and stale
Okay.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
because it's been diverse. There's been a number of decks greater than 3, but it's been the same decks for like a month,
Yeah, but I think their games are still
Has it?
interesting.
hasn't it?
No, I don't think
Red
so.
and Teamer and
And like you've had tokens pop up within the last
tokens
month.
popped up and Mardu came back, but those like we knew Mardu was a deck like
No, we didn't.
Yeah, no, that deck
Black red
sucks.
aggro. Black red aggro's been popping out. I don't know. It seems like
Oh,
there's still a
maybe.
bunch of stuff
Okay, yeah,
going
but like
on.
I'm just saying, there's different archetypes too that people are experimenting with in limited and stuff, and it's still not interesting to me. I just don't think the card pool is interesting. Like I think that like
Well, it's not. All the cards are bad.
yeah, that's for sure the case. And also I think people got tricked into like, oh, dinos and pirates, it's so exciting, but all the cards are just like I complained about this before, right? They're all just like French vanilla. They're all oh, they have
Yeah.
it's a creature with reach and a creature with trample. Like there's no real interesting things going on. Like even the kind of tribal interactions aren't interesting. Right? Like I put some counters on these merfolks, like cool, I guess. Like
Sounds like fun to me.
I mean, I did that tonight and absolutely crumpled some people. Like you saw it.
I did.
It was really unfair what I did to my opponents. But I haven't been playing as much. But I mean, we're coming from a different perspective maybe because listening to people talk about the limited format tonight, they're still like so far behind in their kind of understanding of it. Like people were like, "Oh, Merfolk's the best deck," and I was like, "Okay, is it though?" Because like, and they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay, but." All the green decks, for example, want to play Wayfinder, like the 3-mana 2/2 Explore, right? All the green decks will take that, regardless of Merfolk decks. So now you're in competition. Whereas like Anointed Deacon is getting taken by the Black-White Vampires player, basically only. So is Merfolk the best deck, right? Like because the overlay with every green deck is in competition for your best cards. Like people even just take River Herald's Boon, if they have a couple Merfolk floating around because of that. So, and the Merfolk have like some of the best 2-drops, like Branch Walker, right? Like you're not going to a dedicated Merfolk deck to play that card. You will play it in every single green deck. So trying to explain this to people, and they're still kind of behind on thinking through the format as like a construction. And so I think we're probably just like burnt out because it became obvious. We talked about this a month ago. Like we were already before nationals. We were like,
Yeah, I was grinding a lot of this limited format.
yeah,
before
we were already
nationals.
so past all this conversation that people are still. So I think we're kind of like, we think it's worse than it is because we ground out so much of it. But even then, I never thought the games were interesting to begin with. But
I guess then like we can make our Pro Tour prediction now for the limited format of what we think, like what archetypes do you think people will in their interviews say that they want to be in? Which do you think they'll say they want to avoid?
Pirates.
red, white.
I think red, white dinos or black, red pirates.
Is where people are going to try and draft into?
Yes.
I think
Swash
that-
some buckles.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are afraid to draft the Merfolk deck because a lot of people still think it's the best deck, or it is one of the best archetypes. But it's like we've been talking about, a lot of the cards fit in different spaces, so it's hard to get that deck.
Yeah.
Whereas it's easier to draft pirates. Like black red pirates is one of the better
And
pirate decks.
And people are like sometimes like a little gun shy with taking the red black 2-drop pirate that gets a +1/+1 for
Dire
because
Fleet
like
Captain,
the Dire Fleet Captain, right? Like, and if you take it like pack one, pick one, you can really go in.
Yeah, it seems a little early for that kind of card, but
I mean,
Nope.
at the Pro Tour, I don't know. That's the kind of risk I might take. Although I did have an interesting game tonight, though, I should say, where I got to be noted Dirtle God Adam and make 64 Jaces in limited.
How'd you draft 64 of them?
I just kept picking them, They just kept coming.
That makes sense.
My entire draft deck was just Jaces. No, I got in a humongous board stall, and due to blockers' advantage and my opponent having a Vanquisher's Banner and an Adonto, making 2/2 lifelinkers, 32 Jaces wasn't enough to make 2/2s and kill him. 32 2/2s. I needed 64 to be able to kill him and not die on a crackback as well. It was an interesting game. And so if you would like to order 64 Jaces and be like me, make sure you check out wizardtower.com.
that was the segue.
Yeah.
Man,
Uh,
I had
You don't also want to buy 64 Jaces and have them just like me?
like
No.
a super good like on in the moment
Dude,
idea.
you didn't like my ad lead in.
no.
I had like such a good idea. for
Are
the
you
ad
mad
spot.
are you mad because you pre-ordered Jaces?
I only own 4.
and now I made 64 with just one.
But you had mentioned that like, you had a good lead in. So when you were talking about warlocks, I wanted to be like, and if you're also into like figurines for warlocks and dragons and D&D stuff, check out Wizard's Tower.
Oh, that is good.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you had said that you had one, so I waited.
yeah,
and I
because you
regret
want to
it.
buy 64 Jaces.
I regret it. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, come on. But okay, so yeah, actually, getting like D&D figurines and stuff is pretty sweet. Like
Yeah.
I bought my girlfriend like a little dragon one and stuff.
What was
She's
it? What was
adored.
who was talking about it? You, Cam, you were telling me about how you shattered Adam's world in regard to D&D
Oh,
when it
yeah.
comes to like dice rolls or
That
something.
was wrong. I just
He
couldn't-
was wrong.
I just couldn't add up numbers.
his math was wrong, man. And I was like telling my friends, like, "Oh my god, guys,
'Cause,
did
like,
you know?"
I did the math really quickly on the board because he was asking if rolling 2d6 is better
No,
than rolling
I
a
didn't
d12.
ask. I said, I was like,
He said he
two
was
Ds.
right.
I
And
said,
I was
okay, so
skeptic.
the story is that I was saying that the D12 is like the much maligned die in D&D because, for example, like a great axe does D12 damage,
Mhm.
but like you can take a great sword that does 2d6, and like from a metagame perspective, if you want to be like a cheesy munchkin about it, like you're obviously just going to take the great sword every time. It does 2d6. That's more average damage. So over the course of the game, like you're just going to do more damage. Like you're a fool to like specialize in the great axe, which sucks. Even Weezer has a song about it. Like in my garage, they're like, I got my D12 right because like it's the sad lonely die. Like no one loves it.
Nerd.
And then Cam was like, well, actually, let me do the math. And I was like, nah. And then he was like, oh, actually, like the D12 roll. And then he was wrong.
So
And I believed him.
in typical like fashion of how I make mistakes in math, all of my setup was correct and like I had the formula right, and then I just like said that 22 plus 30 was like 44 or something. Like,
Yeah, he just
like
did-
42. I just
he
like
did the
added up
basic
something
math
wrong,
when he was
and
doing
got
it.
like slightly less than I should have, and I was like, oh, look at that. And then we had to leave, so I just like didn't double check it.
It was like right before you guys were driving to nationals.
Right. And then
Okay.
in the car driving to nationals, I was like, this is pretty neat. So I texted my other math friend, like, hey, did you know that this actually? And he's like, you're an idiot. That's wrong. Like, how come you don't know this? So then I
Because
like,
I
double
was
checked.
like,
and
no,
yeah,
you know.
I was wrong. So
Wow.
2d6 is actually better.
And if you need to order 2d6 and more dice, check out wizardtower.com because this podcast is brought to you by them as always.
As always, great store run by great people.
Fact.
Free
True.
shipping for singles in Canada and the U.S.
And the U.S. for
But-
our U.S. listeners, of which we somehow have many, which is cool,
Buy all my
I'm still
Magic
baffled
cards
by
there.
like how our listeners are sprinkled across the globe.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love hearing from them, man. Gets me hype. It's what keeps me getting up in the morning. You know, I don't have a whole lot else going on in my life right now.
That's checking those DWC messages.
You know, just sit there hitting refresh on the DWC messages. It's open. Not doing anything else.
Oh man,
But I guess that's my thoughts on limited. But like at the Pro Tour, I think anyway, getting back to it, like people are, I think definitely going to prioritize, like you said, like red, white, and pirates, or you know, because like the 4-mana 3/3 knight that gets flying. If you have a dino like Imperial
man, that card's
Aerosaur,
great.
the white dinos are just crazy good. White is so like a great color, has good removal.
And yeah, like you were talking about how green is kind of risky to draft because so many decks want all the green cards. But if you look at like the white cards, like yeah, there's the knight that gets flying if you have a dino. Like vampire decks don't want that. Only dino decks do. So like the two white decks aren't competing.
Right. And like Vampires is very good for that reason, I think, right?
Right.
I mean, every white deck just wants a Dante's Vanguard.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
card is god tier
busted.
though. Yeah, that
Yes.
just put a mark of the vampire on that and then call it a day.
Feels
You make
great.
this indestructible lifelinker get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a combo.
Yeah, so we have PT Albuquerque.
that should have been on the
PT
bingo.
Albuquerque.
That should have been on the bingo. Mark of the Vampire on an Adonto's Vanguard.
We can update it.
Yeah, well,
take
we
one of
haven't
these-
even talked about it yet.
We'll take one of these up on the fly.
Yeah. Yeah, Albuquerque.
PT Breaking Bad.
Gonna sell some meth.
I don't know, guys. So this is the first Pro Tour in forever. I don't know. That hasn't been,
Like basically very soon after release.
like a month after release.
Like 2
It's been-
weeks.
it's been longer. It's been a long time.
Like like normally it's like 2 weeks after release. Like, This is so long.
So the format has kind of figured itself out, air quotes.
Like in some ways you think it has to be, right? Because like would they not, if they had quote unquote broke the format, would like the Peach Garden Oath guys like not have brought that deck to Worlds? Right? Like
Yeah, well, so Worlds.
no one's keeping their deck in secret. Like you'd rather win Worlds than the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
maybe.
Worlds is an entirely different animal.
Sure.
It's such a smaller tournament. Like I don't know. I don't think. And I mean, all they had, the World Championship was basically where when the
Pro
weekend
Tour
the
would
Pro
have been.
Tour would have been. So it's not like they had that much time. Like they've had so much more time now. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's super interesting to me. Like this format's weird though. Like, do you remember at the beginning of the format when like every single SCG writer was like, Settle Wreckage changes everything, like control decks, like they all played it at the first SCG, and
Yeah, that
like it
card
was just
sucks.
so bad. And I kept saying like, this card's awful. Like I saw a mono red player like stuck on 2 lands and like, but it had like 4 creatures, and the guy like settled the wreckage. He's like, sweet, like Chandra Glorybringer you. And I was like, man, that card is garbo. But like all these middling SCG players like ranting about how it's like busted. I'm like, it's 4 mana, like conditional Sword of Wrath that ramps. I'm like, come on, like every deck is mana sinks.
That's also like just very easy to play around.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
it just was not a
Yeah.
good look.
I don't know. I don't really know what to expect going in this weekend because I mean, it's no secret Teamer is the best deck.
How many team are in the top 8?
3.
3.
Yeah.
I think that's a good number.
I
3 is a
think
good
that is
number.
a good number.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think Mono Red's going to show up?
Oh yeah,
Like
Yeah.
it's going to be
Oh,
there,
yeah.
but like, is it that much of a contender? Still?
that deck can beat every deck. Like it can.
That might be the deck where we see the most innovation on like,
Right. I actually had thought about this. Like, what about like rigging runner and stuff? Right.
right? Like what if you just go down to like basically no removal in that deck and just go like super wide with creatures? Like maybe that's where their innovation is made, or maybe like they
That's what I
start
mean. Just a bunch of 1-drops.
right, or they start playing some like oddball cards, like it's red with Key to the Cities or something. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think mono red is like lots of room to move. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I could see that being like a huge contender.
I don't know. It's just so boring And I think it's very beatable, and I think everyone has kind of figured that out.
Yeah, you can like always tune your deck to be mono red, right?
Yeah, but
I mean-
I'm just not sure if it's a good pick for the PT. This time
Azurite though
around.
is like, man, that card is.
I know, but we're not in the early format anymore. Like it's later.
I mean,
Like a lot of time has passed since this set came out. I
people
just
knew Red
don't
was
know.
strong, and they knew Red was going to show up to Worlds. Multiple people who have talked about their prep for Worlds mentioned that, like, yeah, we expected a lot of Red, so we did this and this and this. And then there was a lot of Red, and it still did pretty well. And that's
Yeah.
like Worlds is, as you were mentioning, a different sort of tournament, a different meta, but it's one where it's easier to hate decks that you think will appear. So
Yeah,
Red
and it
should have
still
done
made it
worse
to the
there,
finals, right?
right? So like Red in a more open tournament should do better.
Yeah, like I think mono red is gonna put up like a decent showing at this pro tour. I really do. But I think here maybe you're right actually, because other teams might see the same right away and be like, okay, we'll just stomp mono red. Like we'll just have a sideboard plan that just stomps them.
Yeah, I just don't think it's.
Also,
very
if people
well
show up with
positioned.
tokens, woof,
Yeah.
right?
Like this is a tournament where if someone has like broken tokens, that could very well just run the tables.
Like run rough shot over everyone if they
Yeah.
have like a busted tokens build that like everyone missed.
Mm-hmm.
Like we missed because we didn't really try and innovate tokens. Like we didn't have time. We just tested it
Mm-hmm.
and played it before nationals. We didn't actually innovate on tokens at all.
Yeah.
Like we just
So-
didn't have time.
That's
I don't know.
so I guess the other sort of like archetype, which I don't really expect to do well, but I wouldn't be super surprised if it did, would be some sort of like hard fumigate control. Not like a tokens plan, but like Gear Hulk fumigate and like some other color, because that's been the problem of these like blue-black control decks and like control decks in this format, is that there just isn't, they haven't been playing a good Wrath. So if someone like finds a way to combine like
Okay.
what's Search for His Kanta, Gear Hulk, Fumigate, and like also the red and black removal,
And one of the red or
red or black,
right, like it has
yeah,
to be either Jeskai or
or
Esper.
Esper or Dark Jeskai.
Jeez.
because like you need Wraths. Like
Yeah.
that's the problem with the blue black deck.
If someone
It's
makes that
obviously
deck
like
consistent enough, then like it could also do pretty well, because like that deck would crumple Teamer.
yeah, oh yeah. Teamer's not beating that deck.
No way.
Maybe like a
Uh,
Jeskai control deck just stomps.
I've been thinking about it.
Is the mana okay?
It's the same as it was back when people were playing Jeskai Sahili.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. Control
Well-
decks suck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but aside from that,
I don't know.
I think
Like,
they're good enough.
are they?
you played a
No.
control deck at nationals.
No, I didn't.
You did.
It's a combo deck.
It's a prison deck if it's anything,
Yeah, well,
which is
Prison
a
is a type of
control
control,
deck.
yeah.
it's combo deck
And you even called it the best deck in the room.
for that weekend.
Right. Well, I mean, that's always how
How'd
it
you
works.
play a deck you didn't even understand what archetype it was? Come on.
Please see my record. No, I think control sucks. I don't think we're going to see any approach of the second sun because everyone's figured out that deck's garbage.
That deck
Agreed.
is so bad,
Um,
but people just insist on playing it.
it's people still own those cards. People like dumb control decks, but I think
Dude, I've said this before. Like, you know it's bad because I like dumb control decks, and I think that deck sucks. That's when you know it's really bad. When even noted Dirtle God Adam doesn't like it.
true. Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen this weekend, but I want to be optimistic and say there's going to be a lot of cool things happening. But I think we're just gonna.
It starts in like 12 hours. I'm excited. I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna like wake up early and watch it all day. That's all I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's
just
pretty cool.
I'm not.
It's on a normal sleep schedule. It's not in Japan or something. I can just wake
Yeah.
up. And I'm on a normal sleep schedule. Oh my God.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's not that like you finish school and so your sleep schedule went back to normal. Maybe it's that you just, as a person, are constantly synced with the Pro Tour.
God, that's grim. Do you remember that joke I made earlier today about like KYS? you know, and like slowly preparing myself for
Yeah.
that's not helping Cam.
Like I was saying, I want to be optimistic. I want to say there's going to be a lot of sweet things happening, but I just don't. I've been disappointed for so many Pro Tours in a row. We've been, oh yeah, it's gonna be so exciting, and then just like Aetherix Marvel dominates the tournament.
Oh yeah,
You're
it has
like,
been grim.
You know, Mono Red just comes and crushes everyone. Like, we knew that was gonna happen.
I-
Give me something sweet.
I just
Give
want
me
to see
something to get excited
even
about.
interesting games and matchups.
Someone
like-
break the format, god damn it. I would love to see that.
Yes, let's see some Eldrazi winner 2.0.
Yeah.
They're
I
just-
mean,
Give
the
me-
next Pro
give me
Tour,
something.
the next Pro Tour is modern, so don't worry.
I
You'll
don't
see
know. I
something.
just don't think we're gonna see much
Like innovation.
innovation.
I think
or-
what you're gonna see, and I think Cam and I talked about this, was like you're gonna see tuning.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna see really like refined decks, like
Mhm.
from mono red to control. Like you're just gonna see super refined decks because I think like pros will go into this thinking like if I were playing in this tournament, right? I'd be like, okay, well, we know that these are generally all the decks. Like we can test them. Like now we just refine from here. Like we tune for matchups. We come up with like really solid side. But I think there'll be cool games in the sense in this Pro Tour because you'll see such like well-designed sideboards for the meta. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what you're saying is we're not gonna see. There's not gonna be a deck that's gonna pop out of nowhere that no one has seen before.
I don't really think so.
We've all seen most decks from this format already, and it's just gonna be good versions of all these decks that we've already seen.
Yeah, and I think that like they'll just be like really interesting and like sideboard options and postboard games will be interesting. Like I think they'll just be good games, especially because people know what's going on. So you're just gonna see like high level play as opposed to like because it is like a bummer sometimes. Like I remember watching the Eldrazi Winter Pro Tours, you know, and like the opponents who weren't in the know, like those games weren't fun and they weren't interesting because it was like they just got stomped and they didn't even know how to
Speak for
side.
yourself. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch, but
Yeah.
like
I
in
love
some ways
watching
it was
that.
also terrible to watch. I was like cracking up, like this is such an abomination, you know, like this is such a joke. Like
That's the best part.
I can't believe this is happening. But it's like kind of miserable because you're like, oh, like it's exciting. We'll get to watch these like really high level players play the game, and then it's like, oh no, they're not gonna play this. One guy's just gonna play like 3 Eldrazi Mimic on turn 1 and then kill him with a Reality Smash the next turn while the other guy's like playing elves, you know, like he just like has no chance and he has no sideboard for it. He's not prepared whatsoever. So like,
Yeah.
at least what I'm getting at is like these should be interesting games in the sense of like people will know what the other people are probably even boarding in, like, but maybe somebody has like crazy sideboard plans, like transformational sideboards, like
I think that in this format that's solved because the Pro Tour is so late. I kind of like mentioned that there might be some innovative decks, but yeah, I think that if there is like a really innovative thing to come out of this Pro Tour, it's going to be in like play patterns and approaches to matchups. Like we've been talking about how like the Team Mirror is all about how you manage your energy, but there's multiple school of thoughts on where your energy should go in each matchup. Or like mono red is like, do I prioritize my creatures on my burn spells or pushing damage or my board? Like,
yeah,
even though these decks are like established, the approach to each matchup is not necessarily solved.
right. Well, I mean, that's even kind of what Worlds showed, right? It was like they just had their own approach to the matchup, their own sideboard plan, right? Like from the Peach Garden Oath, like winning teamer list. So we just sort of saw this tuning and refining of lists. And I think that's basically what we're going to see this Pro Tour, but it should be interesting. I'm actually, to be honest though, I'm really hoping to see some interesting limited games. Like I want to see, maybe we're just misunderstanding or like maybe the format can be fun. I'm hoping they just show Calcano on stream and draft because he always drafts sweet, right? Like he's just
Do you think we're gonna see anyone get pummeled?
oh yeah, I would see. Oh, that should have been a
There's
bingo
been-
square.
There's been some pummeler
Dude,
5
dive
lists
down
popping up
into this
on
pummels.
Moto.
Dude, I hope somebody gets pummeled. All caps, by the way, every time you type it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Sometimes P space U space M space M.
Still in all caps.
Yeah, still in all caps. Pummeled.
That's something to get excited for.
Yeah.
That is.
If
Yeah.
somebody gets pummeled, I'm stoked. I'm going to be yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
There's no like instant speed edicts anymore. Like Blessed Alliance is gone.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No, you just get pummeled.
with the black one's gone to the slaughter.
Yeah. Crackling Doom.
Crackling Doom's gone.
Oh, jeez.
Nice pummeler.
I missed that card.
Dude, pummeler is hype. I hope that somebody trophy made just for a pummeler on at the Pro Tour. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
Like that deck always just
Do the
had.
Pummeler decks even play Trophy Mage?
yes.
Why? Why not?
What?
It's
Dude, it finds your Pummeler.
It's 8 copies of Pummeler.
It's literally 8 copies of Pummeler, dude. That's nuts.
Because
And then post board, it finds your Aethersphere Harvester from the red matchup. We've talked about this. Or it goes against your Lifecrafter's Bestiary, so you can scry towards your Pummeler.
yeah.
Like, I don't
Oh,
understand.
jeez.
Right? Like, this is perfect.
Why aren't we playing in the Pro Tour this weekend?
Right. Like, Trophy Mage is the best card in Standard, maybe.
That's the other
Finds
thing
Pummeler.
that pros might do is like Pummeler is like a very strong and game-winning interaction in Standard. There's a lot of other like very strong interactions in Standard that just aren't consistent.
Yeah.
But if some pro tested some oddball card, some weird common that everyone forgot about, and it just happens to make one of those strategies consistent enough, then like
Yeah, you could see a breakout.
it's not that these strategies are unknown and they are breaking it, but it's not that they have something new. It's just that they managed to make something strong and inconsistent work. Or they changed nothing about those decks and got very lucky all tournament.
Didn't Huey play Pummeler at the last Pro Tour?
He did play Pummeler at a Pro Tour within the last year.
It was definitely last Pro Tour. It was definitely the Hour of Devastation Pro Tour. He pummeled.
Yeah, probably.
That's sweet.
Yeah, you might be right.
Dude, Pummeler, viable.
Yeah.
I hope someone gets pummeled. I'm unbanned from Magic Chat too, so I can I can root for like whoever's pummeling. Probably gonna get banned again. I'm gonna root so damn hard.
Yeah, so not that I'm not excited for the Pro Tour, I am. I just don't think we're going to see anything overly exciting in the sense of, wow, this deck is sweet. We broke the format. We're going to crush this tournament. But it'll still be a good, interesting watch.
Yeah.
You'll probably learn a lot.
I think that's probably also part of just small set Standard, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe in 2 sets from now we'll see that because like small set Standard, that's just sort of how it is. Like we knew the card pool is small. We know all the cards available to us. It's easier for people to quickly check all the possible interactions. Like as the card pool expands, also like it becomes more possible to break the format because now the newer cards, yeah, you have to test those, but you have to also test them with all these other old cards that were completely rejected, like Cam just mentioned, right? So like as new sets come in and Standard gets a larger card pool, it also changes how fast people can actually test all these cards with each other because now they have to test them with every single other old card as well. So small set Standard is like always a little less interesting in some sense. And energy is like such a busted mechanic that it is probably going to push a lot of things out anyway. Maybe we'll see like Reed Duke's cousin, like that deck, right? The 4-color deck that replaced like Cubs with glint sleeves, but it was basically just Teamer but black.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Like,
Energy lets you do
energy
just whatever
decks
you
are
want.
going to be good. They're going to have a good showing.
Yeah, I mean, they're
You heard it here first.
yeah. Did you guys know that Attune with Aether is a good card?
Yeah. What do you mean? It's just Caravan Vigil.
Literally the same thing.
That's all it does. Yeah.
So
So,
lightning strikes and it terminates. Pretty good.
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. So, predictions for the Pro Tour?
I think that 3. I'm in agreement that 3 will be like the Teamer top 8. I think there will be a mono red, a blue black,
Blue Black.
a Mardu, and 1 Godpharaoh's Gift.
I think Blue
And
Black
then,
is
like,
dead, man.
Nah, someone will play it.
Nah, I think that deck is dead.
I somewhat agree.
I think blue black, like it's a control deck that contains nut draws. That if you do that enough times in Standard and your limited performance was good, you could top 8.
I don't think so.
I predict that
Not
somebody
this
gets a Godpharaoh's Gift deck into top 8 based on the back of a 6-0 limited performance. That's my prediction.
Or it's like some super weird Godpharaoh's Gift where they're just, I don't know, being crazy. They're bringing back like combustible gear hulks and
Yeah.
Oh,
Some just like bizarre list. Yeah.
yeah. With like a bunch of 1-ups in the main.
I would love to see a
Do you have
good God Pharaoh's Gift deck.
Yeah, me too. Do you have any player predictions?
Player
A
predictions.
player who will top 8?
Ooh.
Can LSV play in Pro Tours again? Is he still doing coverage?
No, I'm pretty sure he's playing in this.
I'm gonna pick him.
No, he's not
Yeah.
going to make it. He's too rusty.
No, I'm picking him too. Actually, that's
Really?
the only person worth picking. Come on, man. That guy's
Okay.
crazy. He had a crazy run last year.
That's true.
And he said he's like got the fire. He like quit coverage for this. He was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm going back. Like I can't stand watching this anymore.
Huey's
Like,
been on a tear. Think he'll make it?
No one's that lucky.
right, exactly.
You literally just claimed LSV is that lucky.
Yeah,
your
but
argument was
it's
he was on
literally
a
his
tear.
name.
LSV's a god though.
It's literally in his name.
Lucky Scott Vargas.
Oh, Luck Skill Victory.
Oh.
Yeah. If I had to pick anyone, I would put my money on him.
Yeah, I would put my money on it. Actually, no, I wouldn't. If I was picking anyone, I'd put my money on Paulo, who actually has the highest conversion percentage.
True.
I think he top eight's like 25% or something.
Yeah,
It's like 20% of his pro tours.
He won the last pro tour though.
Can I say with a caveat that
again, how lucky can one man be?
With the caveat that like, if Shota figures out the like Fumigate control deck, he's probably going to crumple everyone.
Oh yeah, that's lights out. Hashtag crumbled.
I don't know. You told me to pick. I picked a guy.
All right.
He's my guy.
LSV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would like, yeah. I also would just love to see it.
Oh,
It
it'd be
cracks
awesome.
me up.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, aside from that, I already gave my predictions of what I think Standard's going to look like.
Best performing limited decks, Cam?
I actually don't know.
Does somebody...
I feel like it's going to be like, okay, the best performing limited deck is going to be a Merfolk deck because I agree that deck is it has the highest ceiling if the cards don't get cut, like we said, is its problem.
Yeah, so someone's going to get a nutty one
Right.
and
Someone's just
crumble.
going to be in a lucky seat where like the people beside them are doing what we said. Like one's trying to play red-white, one's trying to play red-black, and they just get fed blue-green.
Yeah.
And they just like 2-0 everybody easily in their draft.
Yeah.
And like that might happen a couple times. So like the outliers of the best decks might be Merfolk. But the average best deck is probably going to be some white deck. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like red, white, or white, black.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like those are the strongest color combinations in general, like the kind of like average high power level, like, you know, lower ceiling, but just generally going to be consistently strong. Yeah.
What the people want to know really though is how many Scarab Gods in the top 8.
Ooh.
There's going to be one teamer deck without them. The other two are going to play it.
I mean, I guess
You think so?
And the blue-black deck's going to play it.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen too
5
many
main
teamer decks
deck,
playing it anymore.
and then 2 in the sideboard total.
So 7 copies.
7
of
copies of
God in the
Scarab
top 8?
God. Yeah. That's my guess. I could be 5 total. Because if the
Okay.
blue black deck top 8, so that's 3.
Yeah.
And then if a teamer has it, has like maybe 1 main, 1 board, but maybe just like the same thing. So like, yeah, I'm going to get 5 or 7 total in the top 8.
I'll split the middle. I'll say there's 6. Check back next week.
We were jokingly going to post, I think we're still going to do it. We're going to post a
Yeah, we're definitely going to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a bingo square. So because SCG coverage stole our bingo game,
Yeah, directly from us.
literally listened to, and they messaged us and said like, you didn't copyright it, so we're stealing your stuff. I'm just kidding. Don't sue us. But they were playing like an inferior version of bingo game on coverage, probably because family show. And we used to play modern.
Yeah.
You know, we had a modern bingo, and ours was way better.
Ours was definitely not family show.
Oh yeah, ours was not friendly either, just in general. But we're gonna post a bingo list for this pro tour. You can play along with us.
Yeah.
One of the
You
ones
got to
like,
post it before coverage starts tomorrow.
I know Cam's gonna make it when he gets home because I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
But
And then just
It
upload
includes
this
things
episode
like
tonight.
8
And I'll send you this.
8
Yeah.
Jaces in limited. You know, Scarab Gods on Scarab Gods on Scarab Gods.
Yeah.
So for people who are gonna play bingo using this sheet, that just means like I activated my Scarab God to take your Scarab God to prevent my Scarab God from getting Vraska's contempted.
Yeah.
So that I could sack my Scarab God when yours legend ruled mine after I stole your Scarab God.
Can we just say Scarab God mirrors and whoever wins, whoever
No, but it has to be a Scarab God
No,
on
it has to be a
Scarab
Scarab
like-
God reanimating an opponent's Scarab God from their graveyard.
Or even your own Scarab
Yeah,
God.
but a
like,
Scarab God making a Scarab God.
yeah, it has to be
That's what
Scarab
that
God
one
on
is.
Scarab God.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
What else we got? Someone mulling to 4. That one's pretty easy.
That one you're
Probably
get
going to
that.
happen.
The free square, that's the best.
We're going to save that one for the last.
Okay.
All right. What else? Oh, yeah. Someone getting stuck with like 3 copies of a legendary card in their
Yeah,
hand.
like 3 Heart of Kieran.
3 Heart of Kieran. 3 Hazarite is probably the more likely one. 3 Scarab God.
Yeah, oh, that'll be great. I hope somebody plays blue black and their hand's like nuts, like they're 7, and their first 3 draw steps are just 3 Scarab Gods. I hope that happens on coverage so badly. Just like so boned. Like I just want to see that, man.
Yeah.
All right, then we
Brad
got
Nelson on rug.
Yeah, that's a square because it's
That's
going to happen.
Shout out and control.
Showdown control.
Another square.
He might.
These are basically free squares.
They're basically
Technical
free.
difficulties on coverage.
Another free square.
Yeah, like I don't even know if we should.
We just got to space out the free squares so that you don't auto win. But we had some other ones we were saying. earlier in the podcast. We can replace a couple of these.
Yeah, cringe deck tech though. That one hit or miss.
Yeah, that one, you know,
It could happen.
it's like a 50-50.
Yeah, it's pretty high percentage that happens. But like, there's like different kinds of cringe. Like, have you guys ever seen? Maybe listeners have seen it. Like, Greg Hatch does this deck tech. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's
The
not
tw-
cringe.
It's not
mastery.
cringe. It's wild. The 20-minute one
Oh yeah.
where he just like, have you seen this one?
What
It's from like 4 or 5 years ago. Greg Hatch does this deck tech at SCG for like a legacy event where he's playing like mono blue, like random bad cards, like mono blue
Okay.
martyr basically in legacy. Just some
Okay.
dumb brew he made, you know, because he makes like wild, crazy
Yeah.
brews. And he like just rants about like all the like interactions and just goes like crazy about it for like 20 minutes. And like they're trying to stop him like
Yeah.
to end the deck tag, and he just like won't. He just keeps going like, no, you don't understand how deep this deck goes. And he just like
Yeah, who's
keeps-
the guy that like always does the deck text?
It wasn't Nick Miller though. I
Oh, it
don't think
wasn't?
who did that deck
Ah,
tag. I
But
can't.
yeah, they asked him like, "Why is this card in your deck?" And he's like, "Oh, because it interacts with this one." And then, "Oh, this one interacts with that." And then there's also these two. But if you're doing these two, then like this one, and just
he just
Yeah.
tease off for like 20 minutes. It's actually incredible. It's the greatest deck tech of all time. So if anyone is curious,
it actually can't be topped.
yeah, go YouTube because it's on YouTube. Like go look
Yeah.
up Greg Hatch.
We'll just link it. We'll put it.
Yeah,
We'll find
just-
the link and we'll
we'll
put it in the
just
show
post
notes.
it in the show
Yeah.
notes because it's like it's outrageous. It's incredible.
It's like
you guys
mandatory
better
viewing.
remember to do that.
yeah, it's one of the best Magic moments.
Yes.
It's one of like it's a if you're a historian of the game of like
If
it's
you've played Magic long enough, you need to have seen this video.
correct. It's like there are certain things that like there's certain clips and things you had to have seen, right? Like tonight
Tom
we-
Rawson effect.
yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
the
Like
Tom
that
Ross
video.
Infect video. We should
Yeah.
also like that. We should come up with a syllabus, like a. This are like the essential moments you have to know about, right?
Kibler getting bonfired.
Oh yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that's like one of the all time greats. Like that might be
Mhm.
number one. Like the bonfire is insane.
These are like the tier 2 references you need to know in Magic. Like the tier 1s are like, why is 3 damage called bolt? Why is 1 damage called ping? Why is,
right. Like
why are all these like
loot, blah,
typical
blah, blah.
names called things? Like that's tier 1. Everybody just picks that up playing. But then these are the next things you need to learn.
Yeah, there's like the Golgari charm from Ichikawa, right? Like that one's bananas. One of my personal favorites is like the SCG clip when he mispronounces I can't remember what he
Galleon?
No, not Galoon
Oh.
Gate. Although Galoon Gate was
That was really
really
recent.
good. That one was recent. No, it was he pronounces it Louisville.
Oh yeah, Louisville. instead
Yeah,
of
and then
Louisville.
he gets mad and he says, "No, it's Louisville." Like they'll get restless if you call it wrong. And then he goes, "Yeah, I'll call it whatever I want." And then he's like, "Well, how would you feel if they pronounce like New Jersey, or whatever?" He's like, "Oh yeah, how do you pronounce it? Garbage." Like Cedric just chirps like New Jersey. Like it's so good. It's like one of the best moments, man. Because like normally Cedric doesn't chirp, and it was like. Yeah, it was really. That's one of like the top. But the Galoon Gate might have like that's also a classic. It's like a whole host of them, man.
Stelly almost fell out of his chair.
Wow.
Like even P. Sully's recent rant about legacy players, like that 7-minute rant, that one was very good too. Like very, very good. When he's just like the Deathrite Shaman
Yeah.
banning one,
Oh,
like
yeah.
oh my lord, that was good.
Man, those guys need to do pro tour coverage. Could you imagine?
It would be great.
It would,
Ah.
man. I like Ted and I used to say like they literally should just pay him like $200,000. Like cut the prize. Like I bet pros would agree to take less prize money if Patrick Sullivan was doing commentary at the Pro Tour because he's so good.
Like quit the rotating cast in the booth at the PT. Just put SETI P in. And
And Patrick, and,
Patrick
like
in
they're just miles ahead of everyone else in coverage of like of everything. It's wild. Like I think we've mentioned this like a year ago or something, a long time ago.
we've definitely talked about it before.
But like, yeah, we'll even have like friends or family or like, girlfriends or something. Who knows? Like some significant other like,
girlfriends,
be like,
who has those?
be like watching, the Pro Tour and be like, or, be like, this is horrible coverage, right? Like they're like, this is awful. Like a camera angle, like there's a gleam on like the screen. A glare, sorry. Like I can't see anything. Like they'll
Mhm.
complain. And then they'll like watch SCG and it's like Cedric and, Patrick. And they're like, these two are hilarious. It's like I'm watching sports. Like I don't even have to know what's going on. They're just like funny and great. And like their cadence is perfect.
Yeah.
Such a bummer. Because like I will often like I'll watch like a modern SCG when I'm like, oh god, I don't want to watch this. But if it's them doing commentary, I'm like, all right, sweet. Like
I mean,
booking the day off.
all you have to do is look at the number of views SCG is getting when a Grand Prix is on at the same time.
Oh, this weekend.
Yeah,
This
it's not
weekend
comparable.
they had for Legacy, which SCG has always noted is their lowest viewer count by a lot, by so much that they almost didn't want to host Legacy tournaments for a long time because their viewer count was so low for them. They had over double the Grand Prix this weekend of viewers, right? Like a Grand Prix had like less than half because Cedric and Patrick are doing coverage on SCG, and like everyone would rather watch that for good reason. They're way better.
Yep.
This is not even close. So, unfortunately, we're gonna have to be watching. Now we're gonna like have to, and now I'm like, oh, I don't even want to watch Pro Tour tomorrow now. Crap.
Just mute it and then like put videos of Patrick and Cedric.
I know. I gotta. Oh, that's
the
gotta be a
background.
bingo square too. Marshall talking about how these professional Magic players are just so much smarter than you.
Oh yeah.
that's one of my biggest ones. Like
You could never have figured out this play.
this is just too smart for you. Oh,
It was
I
land
guess-
to tune.
I guess I'm just Dr. Ben for no reason. I'm just like actually a PhD. Like I never have figured out this guy at a card game is just so much smarter than me. Like I can't believe it. Like
Yeah, why aren't you on the Pro
why
Tour, Adam?
doesn't he have a
Clearly.
PhD? I guess we should give him an honorary one. It just gets me so riled when he says shit like that. Like I just get mad.
Welcome
Like,
to the
he's
Hall of
just so
Fame.
smart.
Choose a discipline, we'll give you a doctorate.
And they're like, look at that career winnings. Wow, it's like 200 grand over 20 years. Like the dude's making less than minimum wage. Come on. So Marshall, that's got to be a bingo square too.
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
How many bingos? How big is this bingo thing going to be?
Massive now.
Well, yeah, it was going to be a 3x3, but now I think it's going to be a 3x3 with like some rows have some squares sticking out.
Well, no. technically, we got to make a few different bingo cards, right? So
Why?
people can have.
Oh, so
different
people can pick the
ones.
lucky one?
Yeah, but you can rent. No, you can have the same, like, whatever, like bingo items.
Well,
what are
no,
they called?
If everyone has the same
no, but
card,
you change
then,
what order they.
Yeah, the same square labels.
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
just change what order.
No, you.
That's a lot of work.
You got to have at least two different cards. So
This
people
is
can
getting
play
wildly
against someone.
complicated.
Yeah.
It's 2 cards.
Cam, you do it.
All right.
You got to have 2 cards.
Don't we have to post this episode like right now then too?
Well, we should finish recording it first.
We're 47 minutes in. We're almost done.
All right.
We got time to talk about our
We've rambled
topic,
about nothing for a very long time.
and we'll continue to do so. Thank you very much.
Talking about the topic this week, care less.
Yeah, so we
Speaking of-
summarize it as care less.
Speaking about talking about nothing.
But this, I kind of think,
The lesson here is never try.
never try, care less. This game doesn't matter.
No, but seriously, on a
Seriously.
serious note,
So something we mentioned earlier that kind of leads into this was the Pro Tour where Huey played Pummeler. And a lot of people might say that, like,
talking about caring less.
right, that, like, oh,
Slim
Pummeler's
up
bad, it's
Pummeler.
inconsistent, like, it's just this meme deck, whatever. But, like, the point that I want to make about Pummeler is that it can be good enough. You can get through a tournament just pummeling people. Like,
Crumpled.
right.
Damn right.
Like, you can win more than 60% of your games making 64
Ryan-
with trample. Like,
Ryan fitting to lose his mind when he listens to his podcast.
like it can be good enough. And so, yeah, that was our subject, is that Magic is a game of good enough, and sort of more deeply not understanding this and worrying too much about every little decision, trying to take the perfect line in every single scenario when that doesn't matter. As long as you pick a good enough line, you'll win. Worrying too much will actually make you a worse player.
Right, like the neurotic obsession might make you play worse. Like the clock is an issue. Like there's a bunch of factors going on, and also like, not to mention from a kind of like competitive meta standpoint of how your opponent then interacts with you. Like humans don't play perfect from a game theory perspective, and like your opponent is still going to respond according to weird cues you have. So like,
Right.
you thinking about like the optimal line is not always even the optimal line. Like you know what I mean? So like obsessing over it is actually not even like it is proven to be an incorrect process.
Right.
To think like that. Like it actually is better to care less. Like we're not saying like I just play like shit. It doesn't matter. That's not what we're saying. Like,
We're saying know what you need. Like, yeah, this can be summarized as like know what you actually need to worry about. Like, yeah. So I guess an example of this is when players go on tilt, right? Like they make a mistake and then they tilt off because, oh, I made a mistake and I got blown out or whatever went poorly. And like, I didn't pick the right line. And then because they like made that decision wrong and they focus on it too much, they start making other decisions wrong. Whereas if you sort of take the viewpoint that like Magic is a game of just playing well enough, okay, I made this mistake, but if I can play the rest of this game well enough, I'll still win.
Yeah. Also, like, man, this is the thing. Like, the people like pros and stuff, like any Magic player, me, like they're not that much better than anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like as much as you think, they're not that much smarter. Like
A lot of it's like, I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but a lot of it's what I would call mental muscle memory, where they've just like, they have reps with the game and they play all the time. So like they remember interactions they need to remember because they saw it yesterday instead of they saw it 2 weeks ago.
right, it's like the thing I talked about when I went to the RPTQ. Remember, and I was like, I hadn't played in so long that I like was just messing things up because I couldn't remember like, tick up the counter on my Tyler's tracker before I draw my card, like just stuff like that, and I was like slow because of it, right? Like. And I was kind of like obsessing over these small details and making broader play mistakes. So, I should have cared less about that and just like argued for the judge. Like, come on, man, it was out of order sequencing. Like, give me a break,
Yeah.
Like, not be so worried about the kind of like lower order thinking. Like, I think that like gets a lot of people. They care too much about the kind of like riff-raff. Like, I was joking with Cam recently, right? Like, I have like lately been asking like really dumb rules questions. Like even today, didn't I yell at you across the room? I'm like,
Oh yeah, he asked if you could use River Herald's Boon to put 2 counters on 1 Merfolk.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah, but I just couldn't. Like, I'm like really bad with rules now, and I just ask because I'm like, it's like not gonna waste my brain power like thinking about this because it's like so lower. I'm so above this. Like, I'm like, I'll let the peons like think about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, the peons can tell me like whether I'm supposed to care about this or not, right? Like,
You call me a peon?
yeah, just ask. Yeah, damn right. Just ask. Like, this is what judges are for. No, like that's what I'm getting at, right? Like to bring it all
comes full circle.
To bring it back to the beginning. This is literally what I use judges for. This is like, I used to do this actually too when I was like newer to going to like GPs and stuff. I would just like not waste my time thinking about these kind of things and just like ask judges constantly. I'd call judge like all the time and just ask them like dumb questions. Like, yeah, because like that's not my job. Like, my job is to just play optimally, and if I don't know if that's like how the
Not
line
my
works,
job to know how cards work.
yeah, I don't have to, legitimately. Like, I just don't care. I just ask the judge later. Like, hey, does this work? Like, that's their job, man, not mine. They get like not paid to do that. So that, or they watch my stuff while I go to the bathroom. Those are the 2 jobs the judges have, as far as I'm concerned.
Would that be your interviewing process if someone wants to be a judge? Please tell me about the times in the past you've watched stuff.
Watch this stuff right now. I need to go.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
My favorite time was
Give
one
them the
time
whiteboard test. You
some
watch this
like
whiteboard?
really just like socially aggressive, awkward nerd at like a GP, I can't remember which, Quebec City maybe, was like, wait, did you draw an extra card? I was like, what? No, like we can count. And he's like, you draw an extra card. And he started like yelling. I was like, okay, judge, like call the judge. And he's just like freaking out. And then he's like, oh, it was a fetch. Because it was like when fetches were in standard, right? Cons. And he's like, oh, it's a fetch. And like, he's like, never mind. And I was like, are you serious? Like, you literally just had like a flare up, like an attack. Are you okay? Like, I was so mad. I was like, not even like, are you serious right now? And I was like, so mad. I was like, judge, can I walk away from the table and like go get water and you just like sit here and watch my stuff? Because I can punch this kid in the face if I have to deal with them, And the judge was like, whoa, yeah, it's okay. I was like, sweet. Like, went like got water and like got a snack. It was like touring around, like came back eating like a granola bar. And I was like, all right. And then I just like kicked his teeth in. And I was like, get XO'd, son. Yeah, they crumpled. Dude, that's what judges are for. I'm telling you. I hate Magic players. No, I'm just kidding. Hate judges.
Yeah. So
I'm in an ornery mood.
you
man.
are.
It's past your bedtime.
I know, dude.
Oh, that's what it is.
I'm so tired.
So
This
Magic,
is why we don't record this.
Magic's a game of playing well enough.
And caring less.
I had a couple other points that justify this.
Oh, like sideboard choices, right?
Sideboard choices. So yeah, with the Pro Tour coming up, and in particular with the Wizards Tower Open coming up, I've been talking to a few different people, and they've been messaging me being like, I'm thinking of playing this deck, but like, what do you think of card A versus card B in the sideboard? And like, card A and card B, they overlap in 90% of scenarios, but in the other 10%, like this one's better against deck X and this one's better against deck Y, and like they're just obsessing over these cards, and I'm like, they're so similar that like it's just play preference. They will both be good enough probably, like, and worrying about this is going to make you overlook like bigger questions, like how should my deck play in general against Teamer? What should its goals be? Not do I want, card A or card B in my sideboard, and which card do I take out for it? And then you forget how, like, you don't make a plan to try to use those cards.
Right, you're just like, do I want this card or this card? Oh my god, like
Right. And then you feel, and especially if you obsess over these things and you play card A and you lose, you could trick yourself into thinking, if I'd played card B, that would have been better, which is like also not a good mindset. Like, you're so unlikely to draw your sideboard cards, and then that card might not have even made that much of a difference, that like obsessing over, I picked the wrong sideboard card could make you miss bigger play mistakes that you made. So yeah, just like a bunch of these, the overarching message is just obsessing over minor details can make you worse because you miss big picture, you miss meta things about the game.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I think that happens a lot to people, like just kind of obsessing over the wrong thing. Like
Right.
the deck list you have, like freaking out about like, ooh, do I play like the Peach Gardenos teamer or do I play this teamer list? It's like 2 cards different, It's like
it's
they're both good
so
enough.
minimal.
They're both literally good enough to
Yes.
win the tournament.
Yes.
Like, do I play Godfarrow's Gift or Mono Red? No, they're both good enough to win the tournament. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is tokens good enough to win a tournament? Yes. Like, yes, all of these decks are
Yeah.
good enough.
To win a tournament.
No, they can win the Pro Tour. Like, they're all good enough to win the Pro Tour. Magic is a game of good enough. Like,
your deck can have bad cards in it and be good enough. Like, say you try a card choice or you try and innovate and you pick wildly wrong. Your deck can still be good enough to win a tournament. There's been multiple winner interviews from GP winners or SCG winners, and they say, you just won. You've been playing this deck all day. You came up with it, whatever. Like, how did you like whatever card you played? And there's been multiple times where they just say, oh, that card was terrible. I wish I didn't play it. Every time I drew it, I wanted it to be something else. I'm taking it out of my deck immediately.
but
But
it still won.
they just won the tournament with that card in their deck. So, like, try things. As long as you, like, still play generally well, these minor things can be glossed over.
You probably just have fun crumpling people
Right. Like,
with Pummeler.
that's what you mentioned. This was sort of
I'm playing Pummeler this Saturday.
do it.
I'm
let you
locked.
pummelers.
Oh, jeez.
I'm locked. I'm pummeling.
But yeah, as like
okay.
sort of a personal example,
Right on.
Adam noticed this phenomenon, and I've been noticing it too, is that after each of us won Player of the Year and you're able to play these events that you have no real investment in, like they didn't cost you anything to play, whatever, like you just don't have an investment, that you stop worrying about, these minor things because whatever, like it doesn't matter. And then your play improves.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's happened to both
my
of us.
it's actually funny. Like literally since Cam won Player of the Year, he's like a way better drafter, way better at limited.
Yeah.
Like EXO at his first pot at nationals, like from not like just struggling with limited, like working really hard to get better at it, right? And like still kind of just being like pissed about it.
Because every time I did draft, like it was rare because I didn't want to pay for it. And so I felt like, I have to really learn something this draft.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I play a draft now and I don't learn anything, like I don't care. Like, and in not caring, I end up trying things and from that, like learning it or like.
Yeah. Then that's exactly what happened to me. And like I've learned to like let go,
Right. Or I make a pick wrong and like I'm not stressing about it for the rest of the draft. Like
Yeah, I
I'll
just
keep in
don't
the back of
care.
my mind, like I probably should have picked that other card, but like I can still then play well without like stressing that, I made a pick wrong. My deck's not as good as it could have been. Like I might lose because of this. Like, okay,
Yeah.
probably not.
I think it's like a classic sports thing too. Like, we both like familiar with like you got to let it go. Like when like you got to learn to lose and like learn to stuff. You get unlucky. Sometimes it sucks, but like it's fine. I think like that's like attitude. It's like I played good enough. Like played well. Like what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of. And I think that's like a good approach to have in Magic is like just to relax, man. Like it's a game. Like
Yeah.
if you freak out. So like just come relax and get pummeled by yours truly this weekend.
Yeah, so Saturday, November 4th, in a couple days. Well, I guess if I post this tomorrow, well, technically it's Friday right now. So tomorrow is the Wizard Tower 2K Ixalan Open. If you haven't played in these events before, they're probably the best events the Wizard Tower runs.
They're like the best events in Canada.
Yeah.
In a
Like,
couple 100 kilometers at least.
They're insane.
Yeah, great prizes. If you've top forward any of their premier events within
You
the
have
last couple
entry,
months, you
check
have
with
free
them.
entry.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's $20, I believe, to enter.
Yeah, pretty cheap.
Starts 5 rounds of standard, then cut to top 24. Everyone does draft, and then cut to top 8, which is standard.
Get back to standard. Yeah, people drive from other cities to come
Yeah.
play in this thing. That's how good a value it is. It's an
Love
awesome
these
tournament.
tournaments. Booked off work so I can play in it.
I mean,
oh
We
boy.
we kind of like jokingly call them PT Wizards Tower, but
They're
it is
always,
like
it's always Pro
within
Tour
like local
weekend.
events. It's comparable to the Pro Tour, and it's held at the same time. And like, yeah, I don't think
mean,
I don't think that's a demeaning
there's
name.
there's a million ringers who come out for
Right,
it.
exactly, like-
it's like the last top 8 I think was like 7 of 8 people had played on the Pro Tour, like
Yeah, so like it's actually
you just end
it's
up
a
with
sweet tournament.
ringers.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like a good tournament. You like I've over the years too from like other cities I've met like other grinders and stuff and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, it's cool to see like people travel for it. So
Yeah, it's fun. I
sweet
can't
tournament,
wait.
come check it out.
It's going to be a good time.
So are we
And
hiding our tech? I mean, Adam's not. He just said he's locked into
Dude,
Pummler,
I'm
but
pommeling like
I don't know what I'm playing yet.
No
so
I have
idea.
free entry. I'm pommeling.
Yeah, no idea.
I've been thinking
It's
about
just got to be good enough. to get me
that
in the
is, yeah.
draft.
There you go. Just play teamer. Good
Right.
enough.
And because of that, I've been thinking about playing like a green black energy deck. I'll just throw that out there. So if you want to metagame against potentially the one green black guy in the room, Go
4x
right ahead.
Solemnity main.
but yeah, because like my thought was there's been a lot of teamer around locally, and there's been Mardu has sort of had an uptick locally, and there could be a red or a control. And so having Ballista and Push is very good against teamer. Having Ballista and Push is very good against Mardu. And then like Blossoming Defense and Hydra and just making a big cub is very good against teamer. So like if I have those cards and draw well, it'll be good enough to win.
Sounds right. Have Ronus just in case it's not good.
Yeah, Ronus too.
All right, we'll see.
Like my biggest problem is every time I've played Ronus in this format, it immediately gets confiscation cooed and kills me on the spot. So if I'm going to play
Okay,
Ronus,
that's not good enough.
No, but that's why I'm playing just straight green black, because if I'm going to play Ronus, it's going to be with 4 Blossoming Defense, so it doesn't get cooed because I can't beat that card.
There you go.
Okay, that's actually sweet. Comes down early enough that you should be safe.
Right?
Okay.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. Thank you all for joining the club this week. Make sure, as always, you check out wizardtower.com for all your Magic single needs. And however you listen to this podcast, whether it's on Podbean, iTunes, or your podcast app, leave us a review, rate the podcast, share it with your friends. Everything helps the podcast grow. Shoot us a like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, shoot us a message, send us your blowouts. Been slacking on the blowouts recently.
Yeah, send us
Ship
blowouts
'em
and
in.
we will ship you prizes. We've been shipping to the States. We're shipping all over. Holla.
Yeah.
Also, podcast grow. Trying to get them gains.
We'll see y'all next week.